I am bringing you today one of my builds for Elontir using the Morvael set. It stacks an insane amount of fire damage and even melts elites and bosses on Chaos 10. As a general rule, try to get armor, health and resistance to damage over time on every armor piece. We also socket the same gems on every item, so we get a good boost of damage and health. On your helm you can get cooldown reduction as a stat, so always try to get it. Maximum energy and cost reduction are always good to get, just try to avoid the loot quality stat on all of your items. Your bracers are the only armor piece that can roll with damage stats, so try to get damage and crit damage on them. They are also the only armor piece that can roll with health drain, so consider if you want that. Your boots can roll with speed bonus, so try to get it. Our sword will be Soulfire. Since we are applying burn all the time, we easily can get up to 200% damage bonus. The most important stats here are cooldown, crit damage and damage. Then I would look out for max health, armor piercing and maybe health drain. Our staff will be the Relentless Sentinel. Since we are often stationary, we get damage boost, crit chance and also damage reduction. It's this blue area on the ground. The most important stats here are crit chance, crit damage and damage. Then look out for max health, armor piercing and cooldown. The first ring will be the Ring of the Veil. The damage reduction is necessary for high chaos levels, and since we are using an energy regenerating skill as our main damage source, we easily maintain our energy so the buff doesn't fall off. On our rings and amulet, look out for crit chance, damage and crit damage, cooldown reduction and any defensive stats like max health, armor and resist to damage over time is also great to get. You can also consider getting health drain on your rings and amulet. The second ring will be the old Ring of Dexterity. You can get it from invasions. This will boost the damage of our missiles by 100%. The alternatives to this ring are the Ring of Hotak, giving you health and energy on crit, or the Ring of Radiance, giving you cooldown reduction. For the amulet we have two solid choices. One is the Phase Shift amulet. Since we are often in close range, we get a nice 50% damage boost and damage reduction. The other option is this amulet, giving you cooldown reduction. It will allow you to use your skills more often and move out of danger faster with your teleport skill. We are going here to getting the Etheric Storm mastered. It deals fire damage, it burns enemies and it gives us a damage boost if we get hit by the lightning. As you can see, when we get hit, we get the damage boost. Then I put 3 points in here for the defensive stats and the cooldown reduction. The points I put in here are only for the damage. I don't use this skill. As you can see, this gives us 70% crit damage, 14% base damage, maximum energy and cost reduction. So you can put those points anywhere else if you want to, if you need more defense or other stats. I put points in here to get this skill. This will help us to keep persistent fire damage and burning on enemies. And I choose this skill. This gives us another projectile that stays around for 6 seconds and deals fire damage. And I put the last 3 points in here for the cooldown reduction and health. I am using the duelist chain reaction in nearly all of my builds because it gives us a free 300% crit damage. You can also get it from invasions. I want to mention it first because it's activated on cooldowns. So when we use this one or this one, as you can see, we will get the buff. Our first skill and our main damage source will be the missile. It causes explosions on impact, it burns enemies, and it even leaves burning areas on the ground. Our second skill will be the Etheric Vortex Mastered. It will slow down the enemies inside the dome. It gives us a damage boost and movement speed, and it reduces our cooldown. And as you can see, it also gives us the buff from our duelist chain. Our next skill will be Step Between Worlds. It gives us the teleport ability. And as you can see, it also gives us the duelist chain buff. The next skill will be the Blinding Light skill. This one we get from our set bonus. It deals fire damage that burns enemies, and you can use it to repel and slow enemies if you are surrounded. It also gives you a great energy and health regeneration buff, and you also get more damage while you are standing in the area. It looks like this. The next one is the Etheric Storm. We get it from the God skill tree, and I mentioned it before. The same for the Arcane Manifestation. I have to mention the Etheric Storm and the Etheric Vortex can be moved with your Archetype skill. On PC it's the spacebar. So when you are using the skill, you can move it around with your spacebar. This one the same. So you can move it to wherever the enemies are. The first passive skill will be this one. It gives us cooldown reduction and energy gain. The next one is this one I mentioned before in the God skill tree. It has a chance to create a persistent fire projectile. This one gives us a stack for our fire damage and crit chance for each nearby burning enemy, and it has a stack limit of 10, so we can get another 300% damage boost and 10% crit chance. For your next skill you have different choices. You can use this one, giving you health and energy regeneration while you are static, or this one, give you more crit chance and energy, or you could use this one so you have more damage reduction. Another good choice would be this one from the DLC. The next skill is the Padded Armor for another good boost to our damage reduction. And lastly the Duelist Chain Reaction for the 300% crit damage. As an alternative setup, if you want a more defensive build, you can skill like this. Remove the points from here. Only keep the cooldown reduction here. Then put the points inside here, so you get much more maximum health and armor. And you get this skill, which gives you a damage and damage reduction boost. Then you can exchange this vortex for this one, so you get another 10% damage taken. And then you can put this one in here, so you have another minus 15% damage taken. And then you can keep this one, for the health regeneration, or this one for the overall boost. First, put 50 and 100 into legendary endurance for the damage reduction, then 50 and 100 into legendary crushing for more damage reduction. We are not using skills that consume energy, so we cannot benefit from this one. So next I would go into legendary reinforcement. Here we get a damage and damage reduction boost, but it's activated on cooldown, so it's harder to activate. Also put 50 and 100 in here, then 50 and 100 into legendary punishment for another damage boost. After you maxed out this, I would go first for a legendary reinforcement and max it out to 100, and then max out the rest to 100. After this, you can put your points into legendary rage.
May the winds of magic! Knowledge is power! May the winds of magic grant me power! Knowledge is power! May the wings of magic grant me... Knowledge is power! May the wings of magic grant me power! May the winds of magic grant me power! May the winds of magic grant... Knowledge is power! May the winds of magic grant... May the winds of magic grant me power! Knowledge is power! May the winds of magic grant me